All right. Can y'all hear that okay? Yeah.
Can science solve practical problems? Is there room for creativity in science? George Washington Carver, one of America's foremost botanists, taught American farmers how to successfully grow crops. An authority on American agriculture, he used his tremendous scientific knowledge to make groundbreaking discoveries and innovations that changed people's daily lives. In 1921, Carver stood before members of the United States House of Representatives, testifying to them about the importance of America's peanut crop. Powerful men in the American peanut business selected him to present their case for a tax on peanuts imported from China, in hopes of strengthening the American peanut industry. At first, Carver heard jeers from some congressmen, white men who were shocked that they were being addressed by an African American. But Carver continued, steadfast in his testimony about the need to protect peanut production in America. And he prevailed. Congress passed a tariff on imported peanuts, and Carver became a national hero. Carver was born into enslavement during the Civil War and soon orphaned. After the Emancipation Proclamation, his former owners invited him to stay, and they raised him as a son, teaching him to read and write. Wanting to continue his education, Carver moved away from home to find a school that would accept African American students so he could earn his diploma. He attended Simpson College in Iowa to study music and art, but his prowess for botany became apparent, and his teachers encouraged him to study agriculture at Iowa State Agricultural College. He was the first African American student to enroll. He was so successful, his professors convinced him to stay for a master's degree, and he became the first African American faculty member there. In 1896, Carver left Iowa State to establish the agricultural department at the Tuskegee Institute at the request of its president, Booker T. Washington. While there, he developed successful methods of soil improvement and introduced farmers, particularly poor southern sharecroppers, to new crops like the peanut, sweet potato, and soybean that could be used in crop rotation. These not only could be eaten by the farmers' families, but also gave them another way to make money if their cotton crop ever failed. He even designed a mobile classroom so that he could teach the farmers right on their lands. His efforts and innovations didn't go unnoticed. In addition to testifying before Congress, he consulted about agriculture with 3 American presidents, a crown prince of Sweden, and even Mahatma Gandhi. Carver died on January 5, 1943, and is buried on Tuskegee's campus. His epitaph perfectly describes his life. He could have added fortune to fame, but caring for neither, he found happiness and honor in being helpful to the world.
Okay. All right, so can everybody get in their folders and find their George Washington Carver worksheet? Okay, so let's answer these together. Why do we celebrate him? Anybody have a reason we celebrate him? Yep, Madeline.
Because he was an important scientist who helped enrich the soil in America, which helped America thrive,
Yes, that's a great one.
especially peanuts.
Yes. So we could write any of that you all want to. He was a scientist. He worked on soil. He helped America. I think it's also really cool that he kind of, we talked about Black History Month a couple weeks ago. And so it was pretty cool that he got to stand up in front of all of those other people and talk about his work when in a time that didn't happen very often for Black people. So that was kind of cool too. Any other reasons y'all think we should celebrate him? Okay. So let's move on to the next one. That's important life events. So what do you think some of the important life events were for George Washington Carver? What are some, like if you were going to make a timeline of his life, what are some things that you think would be important to include? You can unmute and just talk anytime.
When he graduated from Ohio State.
Yep. That's a great one. What else was a big event in his life? So if you look in the back of your book, your Who Was book, there's actually a timeline there for you of lots of different events that were important in his life. There are lots of different awards that he won, honorary degrees. And we just have to think about, that's a big deal now, but it was just such an even bigger deal back in the early 1900s when Black people weren't really able to do things like this. So he definitely kind of paved the way for other people. So under life information, what did y'all learn about his birthday? Do we know exactly when George Washington Carver's birthday was?
No.
No? How come?
I don't exactly know.
Yeah, good job. He was orphaned. So we don't exactly know because nobody wrote it down, or nobody cared enough to make sure it was documented. But we do know he was born sometime in 1864. Anybody know where he was born? Yeah, Madeline.
Diamond Grove.
Yeah, Diamond Grove, Missouri. Thank you. And what about his family? What do we know about George Washington Carver's family? So if you want to look on page 6 and 7 in your book, it talks a little bit about this. That's where it says no one knows exactly where George was born because most records among slave owners were poorly kept. His father was Giles, who was a slave owned by a neighbor of the Carver family, and he was killed in a farming accident. And we don't really know how many brothers or sisters George had. So it says a lot about the state of the country and the way we treated people when slave owners didn't really even keep good records of birthdays or when slaves died. And so on page 7 or on page 5, it shows the owners. So George Washington Carver's owners, you can kind of see them, Moses and Susan. Yeah. So what about education? So George Washington Carver had lots and lots of education, didn't he? So talk about who can share maybe where he went to school early in his life. Anybody remember? So when he was like your all's age, he went to Neo Show. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. For school. Do you guys remember that from the book? Yeah. And then where did he go after that? It was a college in Kansas. Anybody remember what it was called? Skylar.
It was in Ness Country, Kansas.
Yes, good job. It was called Highland College in Highland, Kansas. You got it. And then after he did that, he went to another school in Indianola. Anybody know what that one was called? It's on page 53 in your book. Yep, Skylar.
He went to Simpson College.
Yep, Simpson College. And then he went to another college. Anybody know what that one was called? That's when he went to Iowa State. And then he went to another college. You may remember what the next one was. It's on page 62. Skylar.
He went to Tuskegee.
Tuskegee, good job. So do y'all think that George Washington Carver had quite a bit of education? Yeah. Do y'all think it was easy for him to get all that education? Every time he went to a new college, were they like, hey, George, we're so glad you're here? Not so much, right? And so then the book talks about some honorary degrees. Do you guys know what that means? What an honorary degree is? So an honorary degree is given when somebody hasn't necessarily done all the college classes to get that degree, but the school feels like they deserve to have that degree. And so he got an honorary degree of science from Simpson College after way later than when he was at Simpson. And so that's kind of cool when people are able to say like, hey, we didn't do the right thing here, and so we want to try to make it right now and give you your degree because you maybe weren't able to get it before. So that's kind of cool. All right. So any fun facts about George Washington Carver? Skylar? You can go, Skylar.
I don't really have a fun fact, but I know a fact
Okay.
about him.
All right, share.
He did not make peanut butter, even though most people assume he made peanut butter because he made a lot of other stuff with peanuts.
Yes. So we're going to talk about that in just a second, actually. Anybody else have another fact about him? Anything y'all thought was cool or anything interesting about him? Do we know anything about George's family, like if he got married or had any kids? Do we know anything about that? So we don't know anything. He never got married. It sounds like he had kind of some girlfriends and some relationships, but we don't know much about his life, his family life. So, okay, what about death? When did George Washington Carver die? Madeline and Parker?
1943.
Yes, good job. He died on January 5th in Tuskegee, Alabama in 1943. All right. So, you guys, we're going to make some peanut butter. Do you guys remember how a couple weeks ago I was talking about looking at your bookshelf and making sure you have books that include people of color and include people that are different from you or from different places or whatever? I also want us to think about kind of including, or I guess thinking about when we read history, if it's accurate or not. And so sometimes we don't always have a full history of Black people, especially like how I talked about, we don't even know exactly when he was born because slave owners didn't keep up with that. And so when I was in school, all I ever learned about George Washington Carver was that he was the inventor of peanut butter. Is that even true? It's not even true. And so he did a lot of work with peanuts, but really he was a scientist and he created all kinds of inventions and did all kinds of cool things. And what we're mostly taught about him is that he invented peanut butter and he worked with peanuts. So we're gonna make peanut butter today because it's fun, but I want you to remember this. Because I want you to always make sure you research things and make sure you're really finding the whole story. And I think like it's very cool. I mean, we love peanut butter and I think that's awesome, but he was so much more than that. And so always just making sure we're really trying to find all the information we can about people. So y'all want to make some peanut butter? All right, we're gonna try this. So does everybody have a food processor? Yeah? Okay. Does everybody have a bag of peanuts? Awesome. Okay. Can you stand up a second for me? All right, so let's start. Let's pour like half of our peanuts in first. Look at Weston. Weston's already on it. Let me see your peanut butter, Weston. Look at you. All right. He's got a super cool little food processor down there. Okay. This teeny tiny one. We've never used it before, so I'm having to open one. Okay. So pour about half of your peanuts in your food processor. You can do it. You guys have a recipe for this in your folder too. So if you want to look at it, you can. All right. So when you have about half of them in there, you may want to grab a grown-up for this. You can, here's our lid. Here it is. All right, so you can turn on your food processor. You may want to just kind of, it's called like pulsing it, like just push it a few times instead of like holding it down, kind of see how it does. But go ahead and start letting your peanuts get smushed up. All right, Cart, you want to do it? Go for it. Just push it, yep. Push that. I think you pushed this.
I tried that. It's not working.
Hold on. Let's see. Oh, it's not locked. Oh, now I get it. Hold on.
Mom, Charlie was away. Oh, where did we get that, Mom?
At Walmart.
Mom, can you open this one?
Yeah, there we go. All right, now go ahead.
Mom, can you open it?
How's it looking? So you see how, let's see, sorry. Can you hold it up a little bit, Cart? So you see how Cart's kind of turned into chopped up peanuts. So we want to just keep going. Skylar, yours looks good. Kind of just keep going. It will eventually turn into smooth, liquidy peanut butter. So that's fine. You don't have to go all the way, but we want to go more than that. That's like peanut topping.
I can.
You can do it too. Hold on. You can push it like this. Sure.
Oh, we have the peanuts right now, right?
What? Say that again.
Oh, we have the peanuts right now, right? Or did I miss something?
Yep, just peanuts. And then when you get it pretty well smooth and looking kind of creamy, you can add your honey packet to it. So remember when we're cooking, hold on. Remember when we're cooking that you can always add more, but you can't always take something out. So if you want to try a little bit before you add the whole thing, you might want to do that and just see how it tastes.
Okay.
I'm getting there. If you feel like it's getting kind of stuck in there, you can very carefully make sure nobody's pushing the button and open it a second and kind of stir it around. It's getting stuck to the sides or stuck together. Sister.
I made peanut butter.
You did. Look at you. How does it taste?
We haven't
I
tried
haven't
it yet.
tasted it yet.
It's
Yeah?
super creamy.
Look at you. Hold on, sister. Hold on. Okay, wait.
It's good. That's definitely peanut butter.
Yeah? Look at you. I just don't know how to work a food processor. Is the problem at the Reese house. Hold on. Let's try it. Hold on. No, I did not. Here, hold on.
We're gonna take vanilla ice cream, I think, and make a peanut butter milkshake.
Ooh, that's smart.
Mhm.
What if we have ice cream or not? Okay. Listen, y'all, my $10 Walmart food processor is less than optimal, but
We have a Ninja and it's working good.
you do.
Yeah.
Should have gotten a Ninja. Everybody else is working good. See, it's got to go. This thing has to go in there.
I can put in.
Not yet.
Oh.
Yep.
I did.
Yeah. Did you get it? Okay.
I get it.
Yeah, we'll do some more in a second. Careful. Yeah, here. Add some honey.
Yeah. I want to.
Okay, go. Pour some honey in there. It is a blender.
Yummy. Yummy,
I
Mommy.
mean, it's basically. the
Mom,
same.
that's yummy.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. And then it's flour.
It's honey. No, thank you.
It's sour.
It's not sour. It's sweet.
Sometimes it's sour.
You think so? How's everybody doing? Good? All right. When you finish one, you have your other half of your peanuts. And so you guys can use those to make a second batch of peanut butter if you want to. It'll be kind of fun if you have somebody maybe that you could take some peanut butter to, like a neighbor or a friend or a brother or sister, and do something kind for them. Or you can just eat your peanuts if you'd rather do that. You can.
One of my favorite treats used to be honey roasted peanuts and make it into peanut butter.
Yeah.
And then dip apples in the peanut butter.
We're all going to Miss Natalie's to eat peanut butter ice cream. Let her mom teach us all these tricks.
I'm doing low carb, so I think I missed peanut butter. I'm like, I smell it.
Look. It's
All right, let's stir it a little bit. Hold on, Pearl. Hold on.
Can you do that for me?
Oh yeah, we're getting peanut buttery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna get around for me? What? What?
What, baby? Yep, I think we do have apples. Hold on, don't push it yet. Get the lid on first, okay? Mm-hmm.
If
Cassie, will you turn that down, please?
Yeah.
I might let Cart put it together again because clearly I'm on the struggle bus with the food processor. Oh my gosh, you could have made it look.
Mommy
Yeah,
turn.
keep going. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Turn my. Where do you go? Beyonce dance the rest.
Mhm.
Oh, Mom, look.
Yeah, okay, hold on. For one second, let's start around.
Whoa, Kara. Yeah. Yeah.
Yuck. I don't think it looks yummy.
Yummy.
Yeah.
It's
Peanut butter.
I can do the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, that was a big cube.
That's a big scoop.
I can put this
How we doing? What you got, Weston? Wow, look at you.
He actually ate it. He likes it.
Yeah? It tastes good? You want to try ours? Okay. You good? All right. Look at y'all. All right, well, everybody, can we take a picture of our awesome peanut butter? Maybe.
I want
I think we could go a little bit more, but
I want
okay.
I want
Can everybody hold their
more
peanut
bite.
butter up for us? Hey, Cash, will you turn that down, please? All right, everybody smile. You ready? Look at y'all with your peanut butter. Super, super impressed with your chef skills today. Everybody get it? Everybody have peanut butter?
So mine, I think this is the best it's gonna get because we didn't have a small food processor, we only had a big one,
That's okay.
so it like wasn't. I don't know if it's gonna get much creamier, but I tried.
It takes a while for sure. So you can keep at it too. Just keep processing until it gets to a place where you like. Hold on, please. Yeah. We're going to keep doing ours a little bit more too.
I love it. I made it. And I don't super love peanut butter and I actually really like it.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I'm so glad. All right, so next week we're gonna read a book about Mr. Rogers. Does anybody know who Mr. Rogers is?
Me.
You do. Some of you all. So who knows who Daniel Tiger is?
Charlie does.
Charlie does. So I want you to think about Daniel Tiger while you read Mr. Rogers, because Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood came from Mr. Rogers. So while you're reading all about Mr. Rogers,
Like this.
yeah, that's George Washington Carver. We will learn all about Mr. Rogers. And we're also going to make a calendar next week of some things that we can do to be kind to other people. So if you have ideas for that, I want you to bring them with you next week, and we'll make our March calendar and try to do something nice every day in March. Sound like a plan? All right. I'm super proud of y'all for your amazing peanut butter chef skills.
All right.
And I will see you next week.
I like this. Oh,